Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, everyone. We shall start soon.
Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining us on our Zoom meeting. The meeting is also live streamed on YouTube, so thank you if you're also joining from YouTube. My name is Nihal Daraj. I'm the YMEC chair for this season. And We have a very exciting agenda for today. First, we are going to go through some of the things that we do at YMEC and how to get involved. And then we have a very special guest touching on the geothermal section within SPE and also how you get involved. And then we will end our session today by looking into some of your work, which is basically the sections, YP section work. So without any further ado, I will pass the talk to Muhammad Tariq covering the survey.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? And
Yes,
just give me 1 second to start presenting my screen.
sure.
So, as Nihal mentioned, we do a lot of projects and we take the chance for the town halls to shed the light on some of those projects. Last time we spoke about Petrobol and investor lecture programs, and this time we are taking this chance to shed the light on another important subcommittee of the YMEC, which is the survey. Our role in the survey subcommittee is that we select some of the topics through quarterly surveys and design those surveys to make the voice of the YMEC community and the young members community visible and heard by the board. So these are results from our recent surveys with around 250 takers, and it is still ongoing, I believe. But the thing is we wanted to see how much of our programs is being heard and listened to, and what do we want to change, and why you join SPE and why you don't join SPE and why you renew and not. And then we take those results and share them to the SPE board. So if there is something that needs change, they know that the wider community is looking at this kind of change, and then they reflect it in and take the necessary action to do so. So yeah, this is like we have 2 more surveys throughout the year before this year ends, and to give some grounding rules as well, we will be taking questions after each presenter ends his presentation. So feel free to ask questions before we move to the Beyond the Borders program.
Okay, thank you so much, Mohammed. We don't have any questions from the audience. So basically it's pretty self-explanatory when it comes to the surveys. And we encourage you to take the survey. This is really the way that your voice can be heard at the board level. So yeah, thank you again, Mohammed. The next very exciting project is actually BTB, or Beyond the Borders. So for that, over to you, Siri.
Thank you very much, Nihal. Good morning and good afternoon from my side as well. My name is Sirin. I am the current coordinator in the Beyond the Borders committee, and I'm really glad to share this initiative with you today. If you please go to the next slide. Thank you. So what we will go through today in these few minutes is 5 main things. What is Beyond the Borders? I will show you what a typical BTB event look like. What have we been up to so far? Who is involved right now and how we are organized? And finally, what's next? Next slide. Thank you. So what is Beyond the Borders? This is actually a common initiative of the YPs across borders and the SPE sections in Europe. We started initially. It's actually a series of coordinated international 3 days event. What is really important and what we are proud of is that these are events planned by YPs for YPs. So the Beyond the Borders events are designed with a healthy mix of coordination and autonomy. What does this mean? This means that we thrive to ensure coherence and consistency between the events. This means with regards to the complementary themes that govern these events, the type of activities that are involved, and the quality of these activities. Next. Thank you. So to give you an idea what we mean by this and what does a typical Beyond the Border event look like. First, there's always a governing theme, as I mentioned, to the event. So these are some examples of the previous ones. So there were international negotiations, offshore operations, and oil and gas and digitalization. The participants, it's usually in the range of 20 to 25 YPs. And the mix here includes the local hosting section, so people from the YPs from the hosting section and also from their student chapter usually. Participants from the other hosting sections, so the sections that will host the next events, but also people from other sections, so it's open to all. In terms of activities, it's really a great mix of activities, and what is important for us, so the program ensures two main pillars. So the networking between the participants and these young professionals, and second pillar is ensuring the development of the participants. So for this, the main key elements that we ensure are there in each BTB event is first a networking event, which is usually an ice breaking or all the social events and gatherings like dinners and lunches organized together. Then a technical development event. So this usually a field trip or a conference, any knowledge sharing really activity. And then a cultural or community service event. So for example, the SPE cares type of events is really important here. A soft skill one, so this can be a debate or a roundtable, and of course you can add any other activities. As I mentioned, this is typically a 3-day event, so we usually, of course, put it towards the weekend so that people can participate and join. Thank you. Next slide. What have we been up to? So this actually started, as I mentioned, as really an initiative by young professionals. So it started actually with only 3 sections in Europe. They came together and said, okay, we want to do this. So this was the first edition where they tried this. The 3 events were in Paris, in Bucharest, and in Milan, each with its own governing theme, and each one in a very beautiful city. Once this first edition went really well, the initiative grew further. So we organized a second edition. Next slide, please. Thank you. And more sections in Europe were actually included, as you can see here. So from 3 sections, it went up to 7, with the second edition going for 2 years. But here, unfortunately, only it was implemented only partially because Corona struck. So only the first 2 events took place, and then the rest were actually cancelled and switched into online events. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is what created the BTB virtual series, which went on for during 2020 and 2021. Again, here the topics were really varied and um, consistent, so there wasn't any repetition, etc. But we really tried to bring interesting topics to the table, and we were not limited only to technical topics but also to any soft skills topic, helping the YPs with their professional and career development, and touching also other topics such as digitalization and energy transition topics. Next slide, please. Thank you. And this brings us to now. So as I mentioned, the initiatives kept growing, and we were always sponsored by Laura, the SPE director for Europe, and now also YMEC has been really supporting us and coordinating with us. So what we wanted to do now is to bring more structure to the initiative. So not only 7 sections are involved, but we are really open to all of Europe, and we want to grow even further in the future. In order to do this, we brought more structure, as I said. So we introduced a BTB committee. As you can see here, we are 4 people. So I'm currently the coordinator. Matteo is our advisor, Krill our secretary, and Michael our responsible for communication. This doesn't take away the ownership actually from the sections, because as I mentioned, this is an initiative that rose from the sections. So we want to keep it going with this energy. So the sections are still the ones taking the initiative, hosting, preparing the program. But of course, we ensure the coordination between these events, and we provide support and help the sections get the necessary contacts if they need to, provide them with tips, support them with promoting to their events. And also we make sure that the main pillars are there, so that the objectives of BTB are achieved, and that the fairness is always guaranteed. So additionally, as I mentioned, we have the support from YMEC. So our main liaison is Guillaume, and yeah, there's a continuous flow of information and support going on there between our committee and YMEC. Next slide. So what's next? Currently, well, we are working on both short-term and mid-term objectives. So first of all, as I mentioned, Corona, of course, influenced the BTB activities. So we were doing this online edition for 2 years. So for now, the main objective this year is to prepare a 3rd edition of BTB. It's a hybrid one, so we want to go back slowly to in-person events, so that we bring BTB to life again. But we decided to also continue with a few online events on the way, so that people from outside of Europe can easily join us, and we maintain the momentum. So I'm really happy here to announce that there will be at least 2 in-person BTB events. So the first one will take place in Vienna in June, second one in Basilicata, Italy in September, and we are working also on having a third BTB in the Gulf region, but the time is not fixed yet. As I mentioned, we have also slots for online events, and here I would really ask you to contact us if you have any speakers, if you have any interesting topics that you think can take part of our program. So it's really a call for webinars, webinar suggestions from our side. Last but not least, our midterm target. So first, we want to consolidate, so to continue maturing this concept and define the guidelines for BTB so that it's ready to be extended further and expand to more sections outside of Europe. And with this, what we want to achieve is to strive towards becoming an official SPE format. Next. Thank you. So this was an overview about BTB. I hope I didn't take too long. Thank you very much, and you can reach out to me, to us, to our LinkedIn page. I will share it now in the chat. So feel free to contact us if you have any questions or suggestions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Taryn, for the great presentation. Just maybe one thing to add, that we're looking to do this program in UAE soon, and we are also looking into enrolling this program as an official SPE program, hopefully by the end of this year. So it's a great initiative. If you're looking to host that in your local section, that would be amazing. So as Serene said, just to reach out to us or to her, and we will be more than happy to assist. So the next presentation is with a very special guest, Rebecca Scholes. She is a consultant with IEA, International Energy Agency. And she's also with the SPE Geothermal Technical Section. And right now she's going to walk you through what the Geothermal Technical Section does and how to get involved. Rebecca, over to you.
So good morning, and I'm also literally walking you through my apartment as I'm trying to get a little bit better Wi-Fi and away from some of the strange lighting that we tend to have. I also want to take the opportunity to introduce my colleague in the geothermal technical section, our digital webmaster, Camilo Mejo. Camilo Meja has been absolutely the heart of this technical section, and you're going to see that in just a few minutes. I'd like to step through before we go in and first thank Mihal and Mohammed for offering to bring us on to your program in order to discuss a little bit more background on the geothermal technical section. A huge thank you as well for the previous presentations. It is very helpful for us as a brand new technical section to see how you are working and to understand and see the innovation and creativity around events and how you're connecting together. The geothermal technical section has only just started. We are about 4 months old now. So we started in December and in January in earnest. We are, however, I think Camilo might have the updated numbers, but I think we're over 1,000 members already. We are one of the fastest growing technical sections that SPE has ever had. And we would like to share that with you today, and also to get some of your inputs and questions and thoughts on what you may be interested in geothermal and what you may want to see as well. So to begin with, my name is Rebecca Scholes. I am a consultant at the International Energy Agency. My background is in upstream asset management and subsurface, and also with integrated gas as well. And geothermal came to me about 2 years ago as I'm working here at the IEA, and I had some previous colleagues start to ask me some questions. So I asked some more questions, and I was very fortunate that the technical board of directors at SPE asked me to look into this a little bit further. And I was absolutely amazed with what I was learning. And so we're going to share some of that background with you today, and I'm going to hand it over to Camilo to introduce himself as well. And perhaps just to start that, we're called the geothermal technical section, but geothermal actually encompasses a number of different sub-technologies that both look at electricity generation, but also direct heat. And so it's quite varied. There's a lot to learn, and we would love if you would join and learn with us and help bring in your questions and creativity. So Camilo, before we get started, perhaps I hand it over to you for an introduction.
Sure. Thanks, Rebecca. Hey, guys. Good morning. Good afternoon. I'm Camilo here working for the SPE Geothermal Technical Session as webmaster. Really happy to be here. Really interested about talking about the future geothermal. There's a lot of things going on, so hopefully we can deep dive a little bit, and hopefully you guys join us. Thank you.
Thanks. So perhaps if we can go to the next slide, and we're going to start with an intro video, and just to check, Mohammed, if you were able to download that one and if you'd be able to share that one with us.
I'll try to load it. So
okay, perhaps perhaps as you're trying to load, and thanks to Camilo for pulling this one together, we can go ahead to some of the next slides, and we can start to talk to you a bit about where it is that we're starting, because we are only 3 or 4 months, let's say, out of the gates. We have a great deal of content, online content in particular, in this first year that we've put together and are sharing. And really what we're trying to do to start is to outreach both. We've essentially grown up in large degree in the North America and European sections. In this first year, we really want to bridge out around the world and to understand where there is interest in geothermal, where there's geothermal opportunity, and to expand and create this network that goes across to SPE. And then if moving forward, we're looking to really continue. And Mohammed, let me see, this is on my screen. Looking forward to really continue that with technical sharing and training, and to build up, let's say, a small connected army of subsurface enthusiasts that are interested in learning more about geothermal, and perhaps in some cases maybe making the leap or sharing some of their innovation and ideas on how we can bring this clean energy technology forward for both renewable power generation, but also for heat and the heat value chain as well. Camilo, do you want to share some more on this slide as well?
Sure. I think this particular slide is about the goal of the technical session, is building a platform for knowledge transfer. There's a lot of things in oil and gas that will support the evolution in geothermal. And, you know, when you think about geothermal, the subsurface is very similar to oil and gas. Probably the surface is the difference. And when we think about the subsurface, there's a lot of things we can actually add to from petroleum engineering. And if you guys are considering petroleum engineering, I think this is a fantastic time to join the industry, look into geothermal, and start just translating that value around, you know, optimizing the cost. I think that's one of the biggest challenges for geothermal, which is the cost that is required to really generate energy at scale. But, you know, technology is evolving, oil and gas is leading the path forward. We talk about reservoir modeling, a key component of the subsurface. Digitalization is at the core across the industries, geothermal, oil and gas. We talk about new technologies for drilling and completions. It's really exciting times for geothermal. There is a lot of R&D going on around the world for geothermal. It's really exciting when we talk about, you know, closed loop systems, ESG system, enhanced geothermal systems. We talk about deep drilling. There's a lot of R&D going on in order to support geothermal into the future. We still look into facilities, we still look into production, flow assurance. So there is a lot of similarities with oil and gas. And I think oil and gas is a key component in order to really grow geothermal into the future. So it's a great time for everybody to really look into petroleum engineering and how we add value to the clean energy future, if you will. You can go to the next slide. So this is how we engage with the community, people like you, people like, you know, experts, oil and gas, geothermal. You know, geothermal and oil and gas has been kind of cousins for a long time. So we are trying to bring community together, trying to build something really unique. So we engage the people through LinkedIn. We have content every week. You can actually look it up in LinkedIn, search SP Geothermal Technical Section. I think we have been getting a lot of engagement in the past months. It's very new. However, we have been growing exponentially. There is a lot of feedback and there is a lot of opportunities to learn. The second way how we engage with the community is through SP Connect. We update the content every month. We have videos, we have technology trends. There is a lot of things that we kind of keep up with in order to really engage the audience and give you guys opportunities to learn more about geothermal. And looking into the future, Q3, we're going to start posting every day through Twitter. I think there is a lot of evolution in geothermal, a lot of things the industry is achieving, a lot of things the industry is unlocking, a lot of R&D going on. So there is a lot of content that we need to learn, we need to keep up with in order to support all these kind of low carbon renewables type of energies. So the digital platform is about really, giving you the opportunity, guys, to learn about the technology trends, cross-sharing the knowledge from geothermal, oil and gas. There is a lot of things, and I'll show you an example in a minute. We have a lot of events, kind of, the opportunity to engage more people with new technologies, with subject matter expertise that can actually guide all the audience into geothermal. Is a space for debates. There's a lot of things that people, believe around geothermal, and it's an opportunity to really engage with more people, and it's a networking opportunity. Next one. So this is just an example. In LinkedIn, SP Connect, and Twitter in the future, the goal is to talk about geothermal, to debate geothermal, to explore geothermal. It's a great time for geothermal. I've been, in geothermal for quite a while, and I never seen such a evolution. And we have more ideas than ever. And I think there are so many great companies doing new ways, or kind of exploring new ways. So the goal of the digital platform is about giving you guys that visibility and giving you guys the opportunity to engage with people that are actively involved in all of these domains. This is just a post. It's about the deepest hole that humanity has ever managed to drill. And surprisingly, that particular well in the Norwegian border was back in 1970. And, there were people that were part of that project and are still active in LinkedIn. And, the opportunity to learn from this kind of experience is quite unique. And that's the opportunity we are giving to all the community and all the people that really want to be part of this kind of geothermal, trend or geothermal community. Next. I don't know, Rebecca, if you want to talk about it, or should I continue? Sorry.
No, I think, so there's a couple things. We do have the video. If you'd like to show that now, Camilo,
Sure.
as well. I can share my screen and cross our fingers that the audio is going to work with
Sure.
it. So let me go ahead and do that. And if everyone just let's see here. And we'll also, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Let's see if I can make this one perhaps a little bit smaller as we go through. And I hope the audio comes across, and let me know if you.
It is not coming.
No, Rebecca, it's not.
Yeah, the audio is not coming across.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Let
that
me
one I'm not
try.
sure how to fix.
Can I try real quick?
Yeah,
Let's
go
see
ahead,
if I
Camilo.
can. Sure.
And while we're doing that, I just want to share across the SPE LinkedIn page as well, because that's where we've really just been sharing a lot of information that's been coming out in industry, starting to learn where some of the trends are going, where some of the interest is regionally, and how that differentiates. And so please do join us on LinkedIn. And very happy to have you join us there and also on the geothermal technical section.
Sorry, Michal, can you let me share my screen real quick? Sorry. I think I need to be allowed to share my screen. Michal?
It's not sharing yet.
No, I need to have permission. I can actually share my screen. Somebody need to let me share. Okay, no, Rebecca,
No,
sorry.
just one
I can share
second.
my
I will
screen.
try to make you. I'm going to make you a co-host.
Okay.
And then you can share the screen.
Sure.
Recording in progress.
That's the horrible silence.
Mohammed, is that working? Otherwise, maybe we can switch over to the
I got it.
slides.
I got it.
Got it? Awesome.
Yes. Let me see. Hold on. Give me a second. Share sound. Well, let me see. Can you listen?
The world will always need energy.
Yes.
Our love for the environment, our will to make a real difference, to work hard, and amongst the very best in the industry will make it happen. We are SPE. We bring geoscience, data science, blockchain, digital twins, geomechanics, engineering, and so much more. So, why geothermal? It's environmentally friendly with a huge, reliable, renewable potential and rapid evolution. With open loop systems and deep drilling geothermal, oil and gas is leading the revolution. Knowledge transfer, technology transfer, and energy leadership. We pursue the path to net zero. We continue to make the difference. We are SPE.
That's a B.
Thanks, Camilo.
Sure.
Mohammed, if you wouldn't mind bringing up the slides again, we can talk through that a little bit more. And then I'd love to open it up to questions. We have a lot of activities online that are coming up, including one later today, which I believe is on digital twins, if that's right. So the next slide or so will probably correct me. But we're continuing a path forward on online content to help understand some of the different ways that subsurface engineering and surface engineering have been evolving over the last few years and how that specifically can be applied to geothermal, but also trying to understand the basics of geothermal and is there more from a subsurface or surface operations perspective that we can bring into the table and share and bridge across to the geothermal community. Camilo, do you want to talk to any of the events themselves that are coming up? So today or this afternoon, which I think coincides with the same time as the second YMEC meeting, we've got the geothermal digital twins on SPE Live.
Absolutely. Today we have digital twins for geothermal, kind of looking at the big picture, technical, financially, feasibility. Then in May, we talk about blockchain. People wonder about what blockchain has to do with geothermal, but there is a differentiator for the future around the business models. We talk about autonomous operations in June. We talk about the entire big picture for low carbon around digital twins in July. September is about the holistic approach to develop oil and gas and geothermal. And then the big event in October, which is SPE ATCE. So Rebecca, pass it on to you.
Yeah. And at SPE, we're going to have two special sessions, if we will, technical sessions on geothermal. One of those is going to be a more holistic talk where we're going to go into several different aspects of both heat, power generation geomechanics, and another talk that looks more on the evolution of geothermal brines in particular for mineral extraction. And I don't know how closely everyone pays attention to the news, but lithium, for example, is a big topic when it comes to sourcing batteries and being able to have the commodities and the content that we need in order to create those. And there is a great deal of evolution and revolution in the geothermal space on how we go about sourcing lithium, but also other minerals that are needed, minerals and metals that are needed for a clean energy transition. So if we go ahead, we can talk a little bit more as well. There was I think the next slide talks about the datathons that happened last year. And we can share some of the YouTube videos from those out as well. And there's another one coming up this year. They were absolutely fantastic, a great opportunity to both learn some of the digital side of subsurface and surface engineering, but using that applied to geothermal. So great opportunity where people are getting together in small teams and building up their ideas and trying to crack the hackathon, the Datathon Geo Hackathon. Camila, you want to drop in some more?
Sure, guys, just deep dive into SP Connect, again, geothermal technical session. You will find the videos, you will find the information. Many of you were part of the hackathon in 2021, which was really fantastic. So we welcome everybody to the 2022 edition, which is going to be really awesome. There is a lot of things that the team is bringing to the table. So follow us in LinkedIn for more information, SP Connect with all the details, and you can look it up in Google as well, in YouTube. So really, really exciting hackathon in 2022.
Thanks, Camilo. And we go to the next slide. We wanted to open it up for questions and to understand with the group that we have together here today and online, what questions you may have for the technical section for geothermal, and see if there's any, let's say, on the first instance, interest in specific areas of training or technology that we can start to think on a little bit more. And building on that, we had the survey that was shown earlier, and we had performed one last year ahead of creating the technical section, but it's a great idea, and perhaps we can talk with YMEC as well on whether we may be able to include any geothermal content perhaps in your next survey to see what this community might be interested in.
Definitely, we can look at this one and incorporate it in the upcoming one.
That would be great. And we've got some previous work on our last survey, which was really, really fascinating. And I think we had, over 800, almost 1,000 responses into that one. But what I would really love is to understand how the YMEC community, what they want to see with respect to geothermal, or do they, and where some of the interest lies. So that would be great.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Camila and Rebecca, for the great presentation. And if I may add myself, if you don't get a feel of how the business works, which is basically always moving towards energy transition and low carbon technology, you're missing out. And a year from now, you'll find yourself really in a very different place. So I just have one question that I actually got from one of the students. What are the activities that are geared towards the students when it comes to the geothermal section, aside from the hackathon?
Oh, no, it's a great question. As I'd spoken about earlier, geothermal incorporates a number of different technologies that are out there and available. In 2022, we're focusing on the online content. And so if you go, I think 2 slides earlier, we've got the hackathon 1 slide earlier, and then this online content is what we've created so far in the first few months that we've been together. Specifically for students, I think first we want to understand what it is and where your interests lie. We have a team of directors that from subsurface, well engineering, and operations surface as well as an overall director that that position we're interviewing for right now, to understand what type of training content we should be putting together, where the interest lies, and how we want to take a holistic view on that training content, specifically with a gear towards creation for 2023. So for 2022, largely we're looking at these online events, and then also a great deal of content that's going into the SPE ATCE conference as well. But this is all that we've done in just the last few months. And so if we have questions and ideas that come across, and we would be very happy if anyone, especially from the student section or the YMEC section, is interested and wants to help and guide us as well to how we should be building that content and what they feel is relevant. We would be very, very happy to have someone join us.
Thank you so much. So another question, the ATCE program or like session you're having, is it like a panel session or like workshop, or what is it about?
So I believe it's Tuesday afternoon. We have a half-day technical section that's built into that. If there is interest for a workshop, then we would like to hear that, because then we can look at incorporating something either on the beginning or on the tail end associated with ATCE. And then we also have that evening of the Tuesday, which I think is the 9th, but off the top of my head, I might be getting the date wrong. We are going to be having a social event where we're really going to be coming together as a technical section for everyone that can make it to Houston in person, doing the year handover to the new leadership team that's going to be taking the forefront in 2023, and really talking through, what is geothermal, what are people doing, and having that connect that it looks like with some of the BTB work that this group has been doing, and getting the face-to-face connects, working that on the geothermal side and taking advantage of being in Houston, where there are a number of geothermal startups that are coming forward, but also pulling in a really international community on both oil and gas and geothermal, and having that social on the Tuesday. So if you are going to ATCE, set aside some time for us on that Tuesday afternoon and evening to join us and learn more. But please do, building on the previous questions, please do let us know what you're interested in. And if we start to see that we've got enough interest in doing a workshop or training in different areas, then we would love to build that on and have you join us for the journey.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rebecca. We can actually create a poll on YMEC page and maybe report the findings. As you said, like with BTB, because it's mainly in Europe right now, it's the geothermal is booming because it's the first contender to replace the Russian gas. So yeah, the need for geothermal, understanding and technical section is high. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing this. We will be sharing all the links also on our page on LinkedIn. So without any further ado, we have around 15 minutes left. And with that, I would like to invite So-Yang Zhu, who is from China section, to share their activities with us. So-Yang, over to you.
Hello, good morning and good evening, good morning and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Am I clear? Am I clear? Because
yes.
Last time okay, thank you. And I was invited to introduce the activities connect with the young professionals and students in Chengdu section 2 days ago. So now I just gave this presentation to show our activities, how to connect the young professionals and our students. So thank you. Next slide, please. And first, we just want to give a brief introduction on our section. And for in next slide, we can see in the next slide. Thank you. The Chengdu section is established in 2011. At that time, we have only 11 members in Chevron, Halliburton, and our university, the Southwest Petroleum University. And we only have one student chapter. It's in our university, is Southwest Petroleum University. And the turning point coming in 2015, at that year, the oil price collapsed. So the oil companies withdraws in China and from China. So Southwest Petroleum University, the members here take over the SPE sections. And now we have more than 35 members in our university and the local oil company. And we have 3 SPE student chapters in Sichuan Basin. Here, just to say basin, because we have 3 universities which is involved with petroleum engineering here. So we just have 3 student chapters, because we have more than 800 student members of SPE in our sections. Most of our activities is related to our students to connect the young professions and our students. Please, the next slide. Thank you. The next slide. Thank you. Yeah, our activities include 2 parts: the academic activities and the social activities. Because we know the SPE have all 3 student competition: the Petrol Bowl, the paper contest, and the education week in IPTC. And here, to train the students and to make them feel interested and get to learn further about their career life or their knowledge, we just hold the secondary level contest from the SPE. For example, we select the team and select the student to the Petrol Bowl and the student paper contest. From this side, especially the student paper contest, we have almost 3 students to become the world champion and the secondary winner. And also we have a new contest. It calls the Petrol Wizard. It's the second one, the Petrol Wiz. It is trained the experiment skills of the students. A mentor, or can say a young professions, will lead the students to accomplish a series of experiments. And with their skills, they will learn something about for example, the EOR in the petroleum engineering and something like that. And for the first one, the Petrol Bowl, we just select the same kind of competition in our university and around the China section and around Asia. To say we always invited the student sections from the Malaysia and Indonesia to join us. And this is the petrol culture in our every May in this years. And please, the next slide. Please, next slide. Of course, we have the distinguished lectures and other academic lectures to improve the what they learn in the petroleum. So the distinguished lecture will hold once a month or twice a month, or they can know how to learn this part. And also for once a month, we will introduce academic lectures to our student members and for the young professions. And we can see the SP logos on the third pictures, and this is our vice principal of our university. He gave us about the hydraulic fracturing, about the shale gas. So there are 5 academic activities. Also, we have the social activities. Please, thank you. For the next slide. And because academic is not all our lives, so we still have to enjoy the SP life. For example, we will have the ice breaking show before the every year's recruitment or the competition, student competition around the Asia area. And the ice breaking show will always to break the barriers of different sections and students to introduce them about the SPE and introduce about the SPE culture. And the second is the popularization of petrol science and technologies. In the start of every semester, we will have this event to spread the technologies and advanced series about the petroleum. And this one, you can see this activity is sponsored by Anton Oil Service. And sometimes we will have the sponsor to this activity. And also we will introduce a lot of our young professionals from abroad. For example, we have a lot of young professionals from coming from the America or the Canada. When they came to our section, we will introduce these guys to our students and to tell them about the stories aboard, and they will improve their interest in the life and the study of petroleum aboard. And those are the 3 social activities which is highly related to our students. And please, the next slide. And now is how we connect the young professionals and the students, because we have a lot of students. So most of our activities are related to them. And if you want to make sure that they are interested in your activities and connect this activity to the young professionals, you must know, the key is to know what their students desire, what they want. And please next, the first is you have to know, please click the screen and show, yeah, you need to know what the students like, what they want. Always they want 3 points: to know better on what they learn, to investigate deeper on what they research, or to look further in their career life. And please click the screen and yeah. For the first item, you want to know the better on what they learn. This part is always for the undergraduates. So we have the popularization of petroleum science and technologies to let them know what they learn and what they can use these technologies for. And for the second one, it's for the postgraduates. So we have the distinct lectures, academic lectures, and all kinds of contests, just like the Petro Board, Petro Wiz, and the student paper contest, to improve their skills, to let them investigate deeper on what they research. And the third is to look further in their career life. We have stories aboard, we have the DLs, and the students will show great interest in those activities because they can look further, they can know what they will do in the career life and in the future. And this is, I think, I give a brief introduction on our activities and to show how we connect the young professionals and the students. So thank you. For the next slide, we will have the question time. Then if you do what they want, if the activities is included what they want, the activities will naturally become the bridge between the young professionals and the students. And that will be all of today's presentation. Thank you very much. I don't want to waste our time.
Thank you so much for the great presentation. I do have one question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So what are the topics that you think the students are more interested in? Are they mainly related to networking or technical content? And if it's technical content, what are the topics that you find a great interest in?
For the academic lectures, they always show interest in the advanced technology, just like the multi-stage fracturing, such as that. And for the social lectures, what they like the most is they want to know how far they could go in this career, how far they could reach in their petroleum research life. And so far, I think the most interesting part of the students is just 2 points.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you. That would be a great question. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for the great presentation, and really best of luck in all your activities, and thank you for joining us today. We love to hear from you. Rebecca and Camille, we have a question in the chat for you, if you don't mind answering that. So the question is, what are the skill gaps that fresh petroleum engineers should try to fill in order to start a career in geothermal?
Thanks, Nihal. And thanks, Ahmed, for the great question. I'd have to say, and happy if Camilla wants to jump in as well, there are a few different major considerations and differences between geothermal and oil and gas. And I will say that I don't think that we have all of the skill gaps assessed and a full overview of what that looks like. But in consideration of geothermal, if we look to power generation, one of the major differences that we're really looking at is instead of producing fluids, you're producing heat. So you're looking at the recharge of a subsurface system where you're extracting heat out of that and then looking for the subsurface to recharge that heat back into the system. And in an ideal world, you have enough of that exchange happening that you can create a steady state situation and solution with that. But you're also producing a great deal of water with that as well. And in some cases, you may be able to have a bit more of a closed loop system where you don't need to produce all of that water. And in some cases you are. And the order of, or the size of water production, the scale of water production is about an order of magnitude larger than what we have in typical oil and gas systems. So there's much more of a geochemical water chemistry element here as well that's going on. Quite typically, in order to reach some of for power generation, the temperatures that we're dealing with to have sufficient heat transfer, you also get into subsurface conditions where you have more diagenesis happening, tighter rocks, and so that creates both fluid challenges and flow challenges along with some of the geochemical challenges as well. And then if we look more towards the heat systems, where we're looking at some of the lower temperature systems, then we're really concentrating on that heat transfer and trying to understand, can we create sufficient heat transfer to heat buildings or light industry and homes and to be able to do that in a way where we don't need to produce a great deal of fluids to the surface and to expand the remit of that from, let's say, some of these shallow geothermal heat pumps that are relatively popular in some areas and have gained popularity over the last decade, but to expand that a bit deeper and to use the skills of the oil and gas community in order to drill deeper, but do it more efficiently, do it at less cost, and allow us to reach some deeper temperatures, which may be able to increase how we and where we can approach and use the heat side of that as well. So thank you for the question. It's one that we're learning on as well. And we'd love to, as we do learn, happy to have you join us, help describe some of those gaps and create some content that we all can all learn from.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. And thank you all for attending. If you're watching on YouTube or you're here on the Zoom meeting, we hope this session was beneficial for you, and we'll see you at 6 p.m. GMT for the second one. So that's a wrap. Thank you so much and have a lovely day ahead. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.